What's up, everybody? Superdorks fan here for Mustang Weekly Update number 50 on this Friday. So, yeah, this is a big one. It's a strangely beautiful day here in November, and so I got the windows down. I can really hear that new intake system. By the way, the intake full review, it got delayed a little bit, so I'm hoping to have it up here in the next few days, but just stay tuned for that. But it should be ready to go very soon. Sorry about the delay on that. But this is a big week because if you follow me on Instagram at EcoBoostFan, then you'll know that Wednesday was the 1-year anniversary of me getting the Mustang. And it's crazy to think that it's been almost a year. In that year, I've put nearly 24,000 miles on it. It's 23 and a half, but after this weekend, it'll probably be over 24. So very exciting, you know, all the miles rolling onto this car. And it's really just been a blast so far. It's so much fun. It's just going to get better with, you know, upcoming mods I have here. Hopefully one more, like I said, by the end of this year, and then a few more in the spring. But it's really coming together. And I mean, it was great stock, but with these, you know, different improvements I've done here from Cobb and Steeda, it's really just making it even better, and really enjoying it. And I just want to give you guys all a huge thank you once again, because as many of you know that have followed the whole journey of this Mustang since before I even bought it, this is all thanks to you guys, and I never want to downplay that or forget that. And you know, I've gotten a lot of grief and so much hate in the past year about the whole Fund Anything campaign and everything. And you know, I know that all of you that are watching these videos regularly supported it, and you know, we're really just glad to help. And I'm very grateful to all of you, you know, that kind of saw the vision of this channel. And I knew, you know, whenever I did all the videos on the BRZ way back when, so many of you found them super helpful, and it helped many of you to buy your own BRZs, which is a great car. And I saw the same opportunity with the Mustang EcoBoost. Not only did I love the Mustangs, I've always loved Mustangs, as you know, but you know, just I kind of saw this new EcoBoost and I was like, this is the perfect Mustang for me. It's got the turbo 4-cylinder like I love from the Subarus. It's got the great styling of the Mustang and the retro, you know, iconic kind of idea of a Mustang, and so it was kind of just the perfect package. And I feel like, you know, it has been helpful. I've gotten dozens of messages from people over the past year that have said, because of your video, I went out and, you know, bought a Mustang, or it helped me to make a more informed decision. Or, you know, some of you overseas and stuff that have, you know, been waiting, and you're still waiting over in the UK and stuff for your Mustangs to arrive. Watching these videos kind of helps you with your wait on your own Mustang order. And so all those things are, that's the reasons why I do these videos, and especially these weekly updates, you know, is to help you know, because without owning a car, you can't really, you can do a car review, and that tells you what it's like to drive it and how it feels, but that doesn't tell you what it's like to own it. And you don't truly know, you know, will it hold up? Is it going to blow up at 50,000 miles? You don't know that stuff, and the only way you can tell that is by owning one and driving it every day and saying, okay, what's going bad? What's going good about a car? And that's really the only way to do that. And so that's why I kind of wanted to be the guinea pig. You know, this is a brand new engine. This is a brand new generation Mustang. There's a lot of things that could have gone wrong. And so I kind of wanted to, you know, see what's what with these cars. And, you know, it's gone great so far. I got to say, Ford's done a terrific job. It's, you know, been always reliable, hasn't broken down, hasn't, you know, had anything bad happen, really, aside from, you know, getting a flat tire, which isn't the car's fault. And, yeah, otherwise, you know, everything's been going really well, even with the tune, even with, you know, the intake now and everything else. The car still runs great. It loves it. And, it's really just fantastic. I'll probably do a video, I'm going to do a couple videos about how the car has held up over the past year. And I'll do those as separate videos because this weekly update is going to be very long with all the SEMA news. But just wanted to kind of, you know, roughly and briefly talk about, you know, what it's been like here for the past year. And it's been really great. So anyway, just thank you guys again so much. You know, I've been brainstorming some ideas for how to show my appreciation in a more permanent way. Whether it's like a sticker I put on the car, or a limited run of t-shirts that I would give away, or something like that. I'm trying to still decide on what to do exactly, but just trying to, you know, do something, because I really do appreciate, you know, all of you that helped with this. And so yes, it's been fantastic for the first year, and I'm very excited to see what the next year holds. So anyway, that's it for all the updates on the Mustang, guys. So I'll send back to me at the news desk this week's news. Right, for this week's news, the first thing is some news from Subaru, and it's interesting. They're saying here that they're going to be capping their sales. So a lot of people are wondering if they're going to build a new factory or do other things to expand their production since their growth is so fast. And Subaru says they want to stay a niche manufacturer, relatively speaking. And so they're going to just, instead of, they said they don't want to be like other car manufacturers that go after big sales numbers and large production numbers. Instead, they want to just kind of keep it a little more niche. And so what they're planning on doing is just keeping it right around, right now, they said the volume is going to be between 1.03 million and 1.1 million units per year. And that's what they're doing, which is still a lot of cars. So totally fine. Interesting other things they mentioned is that, you know, the 7-seat crossover that will not be called the Tribeca, but along the lines of the Tribeca will be coming back as an all-new car, and that should be coming, I think they said, sometime in 2016, and then there's going to be also a plug-in hybrid coming in 2018, but Subaru, their stance is kind of cool on the whole, I guess, plug-in hybrid thing, and they're saying that they're only going to be making the model in the zones where it's necessary to have zero emission requirements, you know, so I think US and a few other places have these zero emission requirements, so they're like kind of half-heartedly, okay, we'll do a plug-in hybrid just because the government's telling us we have to, and that's it. So, I mean, they're a very green company, but I think they're kind of, I guess maybe thinking this isn't the way of the future. Who knows? But interesting to see that. And so the other thing that they commented on is that the second generation BRZ has been confirmed again. The executive has already said it's already confirmed, but we've just heard it again for a second time now. So the Subaru executive refused to say anything more about when the second generation BRZ is coming out, but he did say that they've already signed a deal with Toyota. They're going to do a second version with Toyota. So interesting to hear that. Some other Subaru news is there's some recent spy shots of the 2017 Subaru Impreza sedan. Now, we just saw last week the hatchback concept, and you know, we had the nice pictures of it. It looked very cool at Tokyo. Now we see the car already in production form, essentially just camouflaged up here, and it looks very similar to the current car. So, you know, probably have some cooler headlights and taillights that have taken some cues from the concept car. You know, re-sculpted grille looks like might be a little more nosy in its appearance and bulging out. You know, different front bumpers, things like that. Probably not a whole new car, probably still based on the same architecture. They said it will have the new direct injected naturally aspirated engine though, which is more efficient than the one that's in the current Impreza. So hopefully it'll have a fuel economy bump. But yeah, so all we see is a sedan. Hopefully they bring a hatchback, but this is coming next year, this car, so it's coming very soon. And you know, normally the WRX and the STI lag a year or two behind, so I'm not sure, you know, if this will just be for the Impreza and the WRX will come later, or if the new restyled WRX will come next year as well. But cool to see that. Hopefully they bring over the wagon, the Lavorg, that's in other countries already, and bring that here as well whenever they refresh it. But we can only hope. Other FRS and BRZ news, though, is that Scion officially unveiled the FRS Release Series 2.0, and it looks very cool. It has this Arctic white, kind of off-white paint job, and this one is different than the first Release Series, which was the bright yellow TRD one that was really crazy and you know, loud looking. This is a lot more muted and mature. It has some nicer wheels. It's basically a stock suspension though, for the most part. It's not slammed like the TRD one that had the lowering springs. So very much a stock vehicle. It has a nice little aero kit on it and has the nice headlights from the GT86 with the LEDs and stuff. The big news here is the interior, which is a little bit more elegant there with the contrast, I guess, brown or caramel colored leather there. Otherwise has the same Alcantara inserts, and has the nice leather parts on the steering wheel that are the caramel color as well, and has a few other little upgrades, but it's going to be around 30,000 bucks if you want one of these, and of course they're going to be limited run like the other Release series. So cool to see that. Other news is Hyundai has officially announced that the Genesis is going to be its own brand. They're going to be coming out with a new Genesis brand in December. Think of it kind of like Infiniti is the Nissan or Lexus is the Toyota. It's going to be their upmarket brand. It's a totally standalone, separate thing from Hyundai now, which is very interesting to hear. So, and they're going to be renaming all their cars. They're going to have 6 different models in the Genesis brand by 2020. It's going to start off with the current Genesis sedan that we already know, which is going to be called the G80. They're going to have the new Equus, which will be coming out, but it'll be called the G90. And then they're going to have a G70, which is a mid-size, like 5 Series fighter. And they're also going to have a luxury SUV in the Sport Coupe, which we've already been hearing. We saw, many, many months ago, the Genesis Coupe concept car, and so that'll be coming. So they're all going to be expensive and premium and really battle the Lexus and stuff like that of the world. And so very interesting to see it. Now, they got some powerful people working on this too. So the guy that's leading it is, he was responsible for design for Audi, Bentley, Lamborghini, Seat, and Skoda. So, some pretty big names in there. And so be interesting to see, but that's coming very soon. And they said they're already establishing the infrastructure and getting everything ready to go. Other luxury car news is Cadillac has officially priced the new CT6, which is their large full-size sedan. It's going to be coming out in March, and it's going to be $54,490 for the starting model, which is really cheap, much cheaper than I actually was expecting. Now, that is for just the base rear-wheel drive 4-cylinder turbo model. And so if you want the V6, though, with all-wheel drive, it's only like an extra $2,000, which is not a bad upcharge. Now, if you want the one with the ATS-V, the 400 horsepower engine in it, it's the V6 twin turbo, that will run you in the mid-$65,000 range. So that's a little more expensive, 10 grand more, but still a bargain. I mean, the absolute loaded premium one is just going to be a little over 80 grand, which puts it at the base starting price for a BMW 7 Series. And this is the same or similar dimensions. Obviously, who knows if it'll have the same amount of luxury as the BMW, but should be very close, if not better sometimes. So very interesting to see that, a very competitive price point, and hopefully it'll sell really well for Cadillac. Other GM news is Buick has also teased the next-gen LaCrosse, which looks beautiful. We know it's going to take many cues from the stylish Buick Avenir that was shown at Detroit. And we can just see the silhouette here, which looks beautiful. And we don't know much more, except it'll probably be powered by a V6. And that's all we really know. So we'll just have to wait and see. But they said it'll be arriving in dealerships sometime next year. So we just have to wait and see for that. Something that won't be arriving probably next year, sadly, is the Alfa Romeo Giulia. So, the awesome new Quadrifoglio that we saw, and, we've been hearing about an Alfa Romeo SUV coming next year, and Alfa Romeo has really big sales goals for, selling tons of cars by 2018, and it looks like now they're getting pushed back at least 6 months for each of them. So the Giulia was supposed to be launched in Europe, I think this fall, and now it's not going to be till mid-2016. So us in America, they said we probably won't get the Giulia in any of its forms until the end of next year, if not early 2017. So we're way far off until we actually get this car here. And now the reasons why, according to these rumors, the reasons why there's this delay is because they want to improve the safety and the ride quality of it, especially for America, where those two things have very high priority for buyers. So that is the reason. As far as the SUV, who knows what the delay is for that. But I mean, the Giulia here is all ready to go. It's production ready, and it's good to go. So yeah, but unfortunately we're gonna have to wait a good year more to see those on the streets of America, sadly. So Alfa Romeo's launch back in America here is yet again kind of stifled. We have the 4C, and that's about it, but hopefully we'll get the rest of the cars here soon. And some news from Porsche. There's a couple of reports. The first is that the next generation of the 911 GT3, so I'm guessing the Mark II version of the 991 here that were just unveiled, they said the new version of the GT3 will come in a manual. And they talked with one of the Porsche bosses who says going forward, they know that there's this kind of split where there are the people that want the absolute fastest thing possible and those that want the fun, involving, slower driving experience. And so they want to cater to both, which is really encouraging to hear. And they said they're planning on offering manuals in these cars in the future, including the GT3 and probably the GT3 RS as well, since everyone complains about the lack of a manual. And I mean, the manual may not sell as well as the PDK, probably won't sell even close to as well as the PDK, but it's just awesome that Porsche is continuing to give that option to buyers, and that's really huge. Other Porsche news is that along the lines of the GT3, we've been hearing about this 911R that's been rumored, which is going to be a basic 911 with skinnier tires, but GT3 engine parts, and have a GT3 engine in it, and a manual transmission only. And now it's just been spied running around, and it has GT3 wheels on it, so it's still pretty fat and sticky tires, I'm sure. But I'm assuming that that's just either for the development mule here, or they've recanted on the skinny tires idea. But I think they're going to still stick with it, and this is just a prototype. But very awesome to see that. A GT3 with a manual and a sleeper regular Porsche 911 body. Sounds just about perfect to me, so very exciting to see that. Other German awesome car news, Audi has been testing the RS4 Avant, the new one, by just taking a normal S4, giving it all the good internals and a few little body fender flares, and they're just running it around. Instead of using silly camouflage, they just did that, and I think that's very clever, although spy photographers still spotted it, but cool nonetheless. And we don't know too much about the new RS4 yet, except it may have an electric turbocharger, which is the thing that Audi seems to be doing here for the future. But we don't really know if it's going to be a V8 that has an electric turbocharger or if it's going to be a V6. So either way, great to see that. Hopefully they bring the new RSs to the States. That'd be really awesome. Other German car news is there was a patent leak that I think it looks pretty legit, but I have a hard time believing it. Anyway, it's a BMW hydrogen fuel cell car that a patent leak has been leaked out apparently, and it's in China, this patent leak. So I'm not totally sure if I'm sold on this, but anyway, this is what it looks like. It looks interesting. It looks like a baby i8 that's been slightly oddly squished and kind of looks like the new Toyota Prius in a way. But, well, I don't know. Some people say it has a 90s quality to it. Other people say it's outright hideous. I think those windows are definitely going to be kind of unpopular in a mainstream little car like that. But anyway, cool to see the DeLorean windows and whatnot, but who knows what's going on with that? Well, we should be able to find out soon, maybe at the LA Auto Show next week. Other official news is Mercedes officially unveiled the 2017 Mercedes GLS, which is their flagship SUV now. So it's the same GL. They said it's the same architecture. They've just given it a restyling and made it look like all the other Mercedes in the lineup. And small, quick little rant, but why do all the Mercedes look the same anymore? It was a beautiful design when it first came out. I still love the way the S-Class Coupe and stuff looks, but now they've just put this same front end on everything, and I'm getting so tired of it. It's like a total lack of creativity at this point. Anyway, done with that. So, yes, but the GLS is the new model. It's going to have, some of the new Mercedes technology and all that good stuff. By and large, still just the same large Mercedes SUV. So, cool to see that. Other SUV news is Mitsubishi has announced that they're going to be adding a new crossover to their US lineup. So they said that they have the full-size Outlander, which is going to be getting bigger. They're going to have the Outlander Sport. The new version of that is going to be slightly smaller, and that's going to open up a nice gap for a new mid-size Mitsubishi SUV that may or may not come with an electric version like the concept we just saw last week. Who knows when this will all be coming out, but that is their plans according to this report. And so, yeah, more SUVs. Imagine that. Other SUV news is the new 2017 Land Rover Discovery was spied. Now, this is not the Discovery Sport, but of course the nicer, larger version that will probably have 3 rows of seats. And it seems a little redundant, though, considering, anyone that wants to jump up from, an Evoque or a Discovery Sport would probably just jump into a regular Range Rover Sport. But for those that want 3 rows of seating but can't afford a full-on Range Rover, I suppose this is what they go with. And so, we got some spy photos here. And this is going to replace the LR4 as it's known here in the States. And looks a lot like the actual regular Discovery Sport. So interesting to see that. I guess we'll see the full thing here very soon. Another official thing is Honda officially unveiled the 2016 Honda CR-Z, which has no performance improvements. The one thing the car needed was a performance improvement, because I reviewed one way back when, 130 some horsepower just wasn't enough. And so, but they've decided not to address that and instead give it a new front end, some new wheels, body kit. They've deleted the manual parking brake and instead put a new electric parking brake in, which gives them room to now have a nice center armrest and spruce up the interior a little bit more in some other ways. It's got mildly updated suspension, a few small things here and there, but mostly still the same car. They're hoping it revives this car or gives a little more sales potential, but they sold, I think, just around 2,200 for this year so far, so very low sales numbers. Honestly, I'm surprised they haven't killed it. But I think they're planning on doing a second generation version, which will make all things right eventually. But in the meantime, this is supposed to hold us over, and it is what it is. Some interesting news now going on to SEMA. Now, SEMA has been going on this past week, and there are tons of custom cars. I'm not going to talk about all of them. I talked about some of them last week. So if you're curious to get all the information on every car at SEMA, check out the stuff last week and other sites and things like that. But the new stuff this week that I haven't covered yet, First, Toyota is going Back to the Future, of course, with their Mirai that they've been promoting alongside Back to the Future Day and whatnot. And I talked already about the new Tacoma, the Marty McFly version of Tacoma that came out a couple weeks ago. Anyway, at SEMA, the new thing here was that they brought out a Mirai that has a stainless steel paint job, gull-wing doors, and some other cool little Back to the Future goodies, such as a flux capacitor in the back seat, and a time circuit board on the center screen, a heads-up display, and even Mr. Fusion in the trunk, and an out-of-time license plate to round it all out. Now, of course, this is just for fun. None of this is production stuff. The standard Mirai, though, has kind of won me over a little bit after those marketing efforts with Back to the Future. I will admit the Mirai is a pretty cool idea. BMW has shown off the M2 and M4 with M Performance parts. So they have these cool retro liveries that harken back to the earlier M models, and just is essentially a rolling parts catalog for all the stuff that you can put on your BMW that's obviously going to be very expensive, but very cool at the same time. So cool to see that. Mazda showed off, they hinted last week, and I talked about the hinted picture, but they officially unveiled the lightweight MX-5 Spider and Speedster for SEMA here. So the new little Miatas that are very cool. The one doesn't have a windscreen at all, the Speedster, and you got that tiny little bump right in front of the dashboard there, and that's it. And it looks very awesome. You have the Spider one, which looks very cool as well. Neither of them are going to be made, sadly, of course, just for fun, like most things at SEMA. So cool to see that. One thing that I hope is made, and that is that, Mopar, they teased a lot of their SEMA cars last week, but they've officially unveiled all of them. And while a lot of them are just, special paint jobs and a few little things here and there, the one big thing was the Challenger with all-wheel drive. Now, it looks really cool, by the way, too, with the flared fenders and whatnot, but it's got the Scat Pack kit on it, so 75 horsepower over the regular V8 Challenger anyway, which is always a good formula to start with. And then they added the awesome all-wheel drive system from the other Chrysler products, and that's a very interesting idea. I think that would really set it apart from the other muscle cars. And, all those that are bound in snow-ridden areas where you can't really drive a rear-wheel drive car all year round, this is ideal and would be really, really awesome. So they said they haven't commented on whether or not they're going to build it, but cool to see that. Other things, one thing that was really a missed mark, I had high hopes for the Dodge Dart GLH concept that they were hinting at, and we saw it here, but sadly, it's just got basics, I guess a paint job, a body kit, and a performance aluminum hood. And I thought maybe it would have a cool new engine in it, or it'd be a new model that would be coming out eventually, since they're not going to be doing an SRT4 version now, according to some reports. So I don't know, but sadly it was just kind of a throwback, fun little thing. Throw the badge on the back, an extra paint job, and that's about it for that. So unfortunate to see that, but very exciting about the Challenger all-wheel drive. We'll see if they actually end up making that. Other awesome Dodge news, though, is if you've been following, all over Twitter and everything, it's been posted up about the Dodge Viper ACR setting all these new lap records at 13 different racetracks across the country, including the one right here in Pittsburgh, but VIR, Laguna Seca, all these. The Viper ACR is now the production car leader for lap times on all 13 of these tracks, which is mind-blowing and really, really impressive. I mean, I got a ride in the 2016 Viper ACR, and it is phenomenal, and I don't doubt it one bit. I mean, this is very impressive stuff, and all the people that are super into Porsches and they're racing in Porsches, Viper ACRs, they should be selling way more of these things. With how many Porsches they sell, GT3 RSs, and this thing will probably kick its butt. Kind of crazy they're not selling more Vipers. Please, anyone that likes a Viper, just go buy one so that they continue to build these things, because it's really going to be a shame when they discontinue them because of slow sales. So we'll just enjoy them while they're still here, at least. Other sports car news, this time from GM. Chevy, the one thing they actually rolled out at SEMA that's for production that they're going to be actually doing is the Z06 C7R edition, which looks much like this C7R race car that is obviously goes around the racing circuits and whatnot. And it's no new performance stuff, but who needs more performance than the Z06 anyway? So it's just a basic Z06 with a Z07 package. It's the top of the line trim level with a 3LZ trim, and it's got all kinds of exposed carbon fiber bits in the hood. It's got some cool different wheels and ground effects kits and all kinds of beautiful carbon fiber bits all over, and a very cool limited edition for the C7, and cool to see that. Other Chevy news from SEMA is they showed off the Chevy Colorado Z71 Trail Boss 3.0 concept, which is a lifted Colorado. It looks very cool, and they said they'll decide on whether or not they are going to produce some parts from this based on the public's reaction to it. I'm sure everyone's going to love it. It looks awesome, and hopefully they build it. Something that does not look awesome, that I hope does never roam the streets, is these Scion models that were made specifically for SEMA. And now SEMA is out there. There's lots of crazy, modified cars, and modified cars is totally subjective and subject of personal taste. But these ones are, especially a little. So they have the IM ones they look fine, but then they have the IA, which someone did a lowrider treatment to. Lowriders are cool when it's classic cars, but doing it to this, the IA was already not a good looking car in my opinion. Now with that, yikes. And then there's another one just for good measure that it doesn't look any better either. And so yes, that is that. And something fast that's coming to SEMA that was unveiled was Hennessy brought 3 new vehicles. The first is the Venom GT Spider, which is, of course, the Hennessy Venom GT. It was the crazy 1,200 horsepower car that went at 270 miles per hour. Now there's a Spider version, convertible version. It's still based on a Lotus Elise, so very easy to see how they'd make a convertible version. And anyway, now it's got 1,451 horsepower, which means it'll probably go even faster. And, pretty crazy they could give it over a 200 horsepower bump over the current car. And crazy to see that. They also have a Mustang convertible that has some, I think, 650 or 750 horsepower, some astronomical number. For those that are speed freaks and want to go for that. They also have their new Velociraptor that is the new F-150 Raptor that's been customized, and I think it has 650 horsepower as well. So very cool to see those unveiled. And some drag cars at SEMA. Chevy unveiled the new Cobo Camaro for 2016, which is always a very special thing. And the first one was even raffled off for charity and go for probably many, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. Anyway, and they're only building 69 of the other of these Copo Camaros, and so they have a live rear or a solid rear axle that has everything's race prep. It's not a street legal car by any means. Adjustable suspension, all kinds of stuff. There's a slew of different V8s you can choose from, and but yes, they're only making 69 of those in standard Copo tradition, and so yeah, and who knows if you'll ever even see one at your racetrack. But other racetrack stuff is Ford unveiled the Mustang Cobra Jet, the 2016 model, at SEMA here. And again, only a drag car. This is not ever going to be street legal, roll cage, everything. It's $100,000, by the way, for this Cobra Jet Mustang. It's got a wheelie bar. It's got the crazy graphics. And, it has the same 5.0 Mustang V8, but it has a Whipple supercharger bolted onto it. And it's pretty crazy as well. Now this also has a race prepped automatic transmission, racing harnesses, fuel system, all that good stuff. And they don't actually have any horsepower figures here, but they said it'll do like an 8-second quarter mile time. So obviously stupid fast, but again, they're only going to be making 50 of these. So again, probably will never see one, but cool nonetheless that they're doing it. Back to some other custom cars. Honda has tuned the HR-V and shown off a few of these modified ones, including one in bright pink, which, again, questionable taste, but it's SEMA. And they also showed a Baja Pilot and Ridgeline as well, so cool to see those. Again, stuff that, the Baja will actually probably, be some form of race vehicle at some point, but the other stuff's just for fun. Kia has also shown some modified cars. They have 4 that they did here for SEMA, including it's called an Optima A1A concept, which is a convertible Optima with suicide doors, and it's interesting. Then they also did a Kia Sorento Pac West Adventure concept, which looks like that. Very fun and just, for the heck of it. Cool to see that they're doing these things. Also, they did a Kia Sedona Photo Safari concept
very creative. And they also did a Kia Forte Coupe Mudbogger concept. And that's that. So, again, nothing even remotely close to production, but fun to see them nonetheless. Something that Nissan's doing that's pretty cool is that SEMA, they unveiled the Titan XD diesel land speed truck. So they're going for, I guess doing land speed racing on the salt flats with this thing. And it's got this 5-liter V8 that has 555 pound-feet of torque. So they're calling it Project Triple Nickel, which I like as it's a very cool nickname. And, it should be interesting to race on the salt flats whenever they do. But this is in the early stages, they said still, but cool that they brought it out to show everyone. And the last thing is Jeep at SEMA brought the Wrangler Red Rock concept, which is a very cool, doorless, old school kind of Wrangler vibe. Very awesome looking, and I'm sure there's several other Jeeps at SEMA, but cool to see that nonetheless. The last SEMA thing I want to mention is that the Ford Mustang and the Ford F-150 were the car of the year for SEMA and the truck of the year for SEMA. So very cool to see Ford taking both of those. But yeah, so that's it for all the news this week, guys. Let's send it back to me in the car.
Alright, so I'll leave you guys with a nice little acceleration here, like I always do. Second gear pull. Oh, so fast. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Take care.